What is your profession?
I'm a potter, sir.
And you, Akkadian, what is your profession?
Sculptor, sir.
You?
Blacksmith.
Spartans! What is your profession?
Good day, I'm Marilyn Tansha from BSed Social Studies second year. So this is the report of Group 1, which is entitled The Rise and Fall of Greek City-State. Greek is one in a constellation of ancient cultures that formed the foundations of Western civilization. Democracy, colonialism, military, strategy, and much more all can be traced back to origins in early Greek history. The Hellenistic age lasted from 323 BCE, when Alexander died at the height of his power and influence, to approximately 30 BCE, when the Roman conquest of the Hellenistic lands was complete with the rise of Macedon. Athens loses much of its power. So question number 1. What caused the rise and fall of Greek civilization? So Alexander the Great led to the rise of Greece, but also weakened the empire, which led to the fall of Greece. After he expanded the empire, he died. His death in 323 BC led to the dispute of power, because his son wasn't born yet. This, dip, this dispute caused internal fighting, which the Romans noticed. Second question. When did Greece rise and fall? Ancient Greece was a civilization belonging to a period of Greek history from the Greek Dark Ages of the 12th to 9th centuries BC to the end of Antiquity, AD 600. This era was immediately followed by the early Middle Ages and the Byzantine period. Third question. What are the 5 Greek city-states? Ancient Greek city-states are known as polis. Although there were numerous city-states, the 5 most influential were Athens, Sparta, Corinth, Thebes, and Delphi. The people of each city-state had similar gods and prayed alike. The city-states spoke the same language. The culture of each city-state was similar too. City-states liked competing against one another, and each city-state would send a team of athletes to compete in the Olympic Games. There were numerous city-states within ancient Greece. Ancient Greek city-states were known for something specific too. For instance, Corinth was a wealthy city because of trade. It also known for its architecture. Delphi was known as the spiritual center of all city-states, and Sparta was known for its militaristic attitude. Thebes was known to switch sides during war and fight against Athens with Sparta, as well as fight with Athens against Sparta. So this is the street in ancient Corinth. So let's go to beginnings of the Greek civilization. The civilization of ancient Greece emerged into the light of the world history in the 8th century BC. Normally, it is regarded as coming to an end when Greece fell to the Roman in 146 BC. However, major Greek or Hellenistic, as modern scholars call them, kingdoms last longer than this. So the history of ancient Greece falls into 4 major divisions. The Archaic period, when the civilization's main features were evolving, lasted from the 8th to 6th century BC. So the geographical of ancient Greece changed markedly during its history. Its origins were in the land of Greece and the islands of Aegean Sea, plus the west coast of Asia Minor, which is the modern Turkey. Land useful for farming is found in valley bottoms hedged in by steep slopes confined by water. So this is a picture of steppe hills cover much of Greece. So ancient Greece can be credited with many inventions and discoveries. Here is a list of top 10 inventions and discoveries of ancient Greece that are still used today. So number 1 is discoveries and modern science. They made some astounding discoveries in the fields of astronomy, biology, and physics that broke with contemporary stereotypes. Second is the concept of democracy, idea of every citizen having equal opportunity and a say in government constitutes the concept of democracy. Third, modern philosophy. They develop philosophy as a way of understanding the world around them without resorting to religion, myth, or magic. So the fourth one is the earliest practice of medicine. The fifth one is the basis of geometry. Doubtless one of the oldest branches of mathematics, possibly or older than arithmetic itself. Sixth, Olympics, one of the greatest sporting spectacles of the modern age. Seventh, cartography, study and practice of making maps. Anaximander was one of the first pioneer cartographers to create a map of the world. Born between 611 and 610 BC, he made important contributions to the science of astronomy and geography. 8. The alarm clock. Most commonly used gadgets these days is the alarm clock, and it too had its origins in ancient Greece. So, the Greek philosopher Plato was said to possess a large water clock with an unspecified alarm signal similar to the sound of a water organ. He used it at night, possibly for signaling the beginning of his lectures at dawn. Ninth, the odometer measures the distance traveled by a vehicle such as bicycle or automobile. Last one is the water mill. Water mills were a revolutionary invention and have been used all over the world for the purpose of metal shaping, agriculture, and most importantly, milling. To mill means to grind, and that invariably means to grind grain.
Good day everyone, my name is Amijas and for today we will discuss about the development of Greek city-state. So Greek city-state is the community structure of ancient Greece. It was the political and social unit of Athenians, Spartans, and etc. So each city-states nila, kasali na doon yung city proper at yung surrounding farms nila is merong walls for protection against sa kanilang enemy. So yan yung example. The next, city-states that became famous. First is the Athens. Athens was the largest and the most influential of Greek city-states. It had many fine buildings and was named after Athena, the goddess of wisdom and warfare. Next is Sparta. Sparta was one of the powerful city-states in ancient Greece. It is famous for its power army, na yung tinatawag nilang army nila as Spartan. So, yun yung nakita ninyo sa aming intro kanina. The next is Corinth. Corinth was a trade city. So, meron silang dalawang strategic ports. Yun yung isa is nakalocated sa Corinthian Gulf at yung isa naman is located sa Saronic Gulf. So, yun. Next is Thebes. Thebes is a powerful city-state to the north of Corinth or Athens. During Byzantine naman period, yung kanilang city is naging famous because of silk. Then Delphi. Delphi is important ancient Greek religious structure sacred to the god of Apollo. Next, forms of government. Monarchy. Monarchy is political system based upon the undivided sovereignty or rule of a single person. Pag monarchy is one person only yung namumuno. Then tyrant, a ruler who exercises absolute power power oppressively or brutally. So masyadong harsh yung pamumuno ng tyrant, ng isang tyrant. The next is aristocracy. Aristocracy is a kind of government that put power in the hands of small privileged ruling class. So dyan is, pag sa monarchy is one person lang, dito is merong few lang or small privileged ruling class. So, oligarchy, this was where the word aristocrats and oligarchs came from. So, oligarchy is a form of power structure in which power rests with a small number of people. Next, democracy. It is a form of government in which the people have the authority to choose their governed legislation. So, mobocracy is a rule of domination by the masses. Then, next. Athens had a democratic government and the decisions were made by open voting, written or oral vote. All the adult male is pumupunta sa agora o plaza to talk about important problems ng kanilang city-states. Ancient Greeks invented pure democracy, direct rule by the many. Then indirect democracy or republic was invented by Romans. Then, pure and direct democracy still exists today only in 3 cantons in Switzerland. So, yung 3 cantons na yun is Appenzell, Innerrhoden, and Glarus. Sila yung 3 cantons of Switzerland na nag-adapt ng pure and direct democracy. The next is most democracies have adopted the republican from a democracy or rule by elected public official who make the law for the people. Next, dictatorial Sparta. Sparta was a capital of Laconia. The Spartans were a simple, frugal, materialistic people. Hence, the modern meaning of the word laconic means a person who speaks little. Then, Sparta was dictatorship unlike Athens. Like Lycurgus, it is a famous lawgiver, set up its government with the ruling power vested in a dual monarchy. So, 2 kings assisted by 28 old men or council of elders. So, yung 2 kings yung sumasama sa mga Spartans pag merong mga war sila. Ganon. Then, Spartan society was divided into 3 classes. First is the Spartans. Yun yung yun yung mga warriors nila. So, 5% lang ng population ang pinipresent ng Spartans. Then next is Perioeci. Freemen, engaged lang sila sa trade and industry. Then wala silang privilege to vote. Then Heliots, yun yung mga slave, yung servant lang nasa bahay, then nag-cultivate ng farm. So ganon. Next, Spartan is a military state. All Spartans is obligado sila na mag-train to fight para sa kanilang city-states. So, lahat ng babies ay gina-examine or ini-examine ng mga government authorities. If the baby naman is weak, is hinuhulog siya sa mountains kasi pinapatay nila kasi para sa kanila hindi nila magamit for wars yung mga bata. Then all the pag healthy yung baby is ginalet nila na mag-live yung bata. Then at the age of 7, boys were taken away sa kanilang family tapos nag-live sila sa military barracks. Then at the age of 20, nagiging full citizen na sila, then meron na silang right to vote. Then, at the age of 30, obligado na sila na magpakasal, pero hindi nila nai-enjoy yung kanilang married life kasi nasa barracks sila. Pero after they reach the age of 60 is, doon na yun nag-stop yung military service nila. Then, democratic Athens. In the peninsula of Attica, Athens was the largest Greek city-state. Solon, a very wise reformer, granted reforms which started a democratic form of government. So, si Solon. So, ito yung ginawa niyang reforms ng democratic form of government. First is the poor people were given the right to vote para mamili ng kanilang officials. Then, second, a court of appeals composed of citizens from all classes was created to review the decision of the regular courts. Then, a wise legislator was called Solon. Two reforms were Cleisthenes reforms in 508 BC, which transformed the Athenians government into real democracy. So ito yung these reforms were as follows. First is the each village was organized into a self-governing community called deme. So they were combined into 10 tribes which were equal into population and wealth. So gidivide. So ano yun, hinati-hati sila ba na merong hati-hati yung mga mayayaman ganon. Council of 500 composed of 50 men chosen. So bawat sa 10 tribes meron silang 50 men na choose. Then a board of 10 nagpili din sa 10 tribes ng 10 generals na mamuno. Ganon. Sila yung take charge sa military matters. Then next is the system of ostracism. Ostracism was established to prevent the rise of tyrant. Yun yung tyrant, diba, is yung namumuno sila ng masyadong harsh or brutal yung kanilang pamumuno. Then Athenians were free-loving and culture. They were found at the arts. They found of the arts, music, literature, philosophy, public speaking, and debate. They believe that the states, nagabilib sila na ang states is naga-exist para sa individuals, hindi na yung individuals ang mag-exist para sa states. So that's the end of my presentation. Hope na may nakuha kayong knowledge about sa topic na ito. Thank you!
Good day everyone, I'm Francis Dave C. Amler. I'm the reporter for Hall of City-States Greek Culture. So first, let's talk about ancient Greece. Ancient Greece was one of the dominant civilizations in Mediterranean in the world for hundreds of years. But Greece eventually fell into decline and was conquered by Romans, a new and rising world power. So I know many of us is asking why did the dominant civilization of Greece was conquered by the Romans. So before we discuss that, let's talk about the successful civilization of Greece. So Philip II is the one of the general of Greece. He is from Macedon, northern part of Greece. So he is the one who rose the power of Greece in 338 BC. So he rose the power of Greece by conquering other cities of Greece and uniting it as one under his rule. So upon Philip II's death, his son Alexander the Great took control. So Alexander the Great became the great general of Greece. He conquered all the lands between Greece, India, even Egypt. But after Alexander the Great died, the city-states of Greece was divided into his general. So this is the start of the decline of the city-states of Greece. So here is the period of Hellenistic Greece. During this period, the city-states fell into decline. So in Hellenistic Greece, this is where it happens, the decline of or the fall of the Greece. The rich center of Greek culture moved into other areas of the world. So next is the rise of Rome. So the Greeks started to see the Rome as a threat. So after that, Greeks formed an alliance with Carthage against Rome in 215 BC. So because the Greeks see the rise of Rome, they form an alliance with Carthage just to defeat the Rome. So Rome declared a war in Macedonia. So after Rome declared a war happened. So after the war, Rome defeated Macedonia twice. So Macedonia is the people of the Greece. So next is the Battle of Corinth. So in Battle of Corinth, Rome continued to conquest of Greece and finally defeated the Battle of Corinth at 146 BC. So in the Battle of Corinth, the Rome was finally defeated, and it just simply means that Greece was ruled by Rome. But despite of being ruled by Rome, the Greek culture remained the same and had heavy influence on Roman culture. So even though that Greece was under the rule of Rome, the Greek culture still remained, and it has a heavy influence on Roman culture. So factors that makes the city-states fall. Greece was divided into city-states. So as what I have said earlier, the Greece, after Alexander the Great died, Greece was divided into city-states. So after that, constant warring between the city-states weakened the Greece and made it difficult to unite against a common enemy like Rome. So because the city-states have different government, that's why they have constant warring between the different city-states of Greece. So the next factor is the poorer classes of Greece began to rebel against aristocracy and wealthy. The third factor is they have different government and were constantly changing alliance. So the Greece was constantly changing alliance because if they feel that their what we call this, their alliance, their allied nation is their allied nation is not powerful, they find another nation that is more powerful than their past allies. So the last factor is Greek colonies had similar culture but were not strong allies to Greece or any of the Greek city-states. So ito na yung the third factor. The third factor and fourth factor are connected. So fun fact about the fall of city-states. So the Roman used the new type of fighting formation called manipole. It was more flexible than the Greek military formation called phalanx. So this is why the Romans dominated the successful or the dominant civilization of Greece, because they have a new fighting technique and it was more efficient than the fighting technique of the Greece. So although the Romans conquered the Greek peninsula in 145 BC, they did not take control of Egypt until 31 BC. So it just means that the Greece or the civilization of Greece was not that weak because it takes how many years for the Romans to conquer the to conquer all the city states of Greece. So the Greek language continued to be the main language used in the eastern part of the Roman Empire for the hundred of years. So as what I have said earlier, even though the Greece was under by the rule of Roman Empire, the Greek culture was still remain. So I think that's all. So my conclusion is, even though how great the civilization of one nation, if there is no a great leader, your a nation will soon fall because of its people. So that's would be all. Thank you. I hope you learned something about my report.
Good day, my topic is all about Greek arts and literature. So, this is a short background of Greek. Greek influence from their art and culture have made a great impact on the European and American culture. Their highly organized society, even the word politics is a Greek word. Their system of justice, and of course their art, the sculpture, statues, plays, and mythology have been a major source of inspiration. Modern Greek literature. Recognized as masters of modern Greek letters, Sepphoris and Elytis received the Nobel Prize Literature in 1963 and 1979 respectively. The poet Marie Polidori, 1902 to 30, gained renown through her intense erotic love lyrics. The effort of modern Greek writers to achieve a synthesis of the rich traditions of the Greek heritage is well represented in the work of Nico Kazantzakis. So, so um, modern Greek literature is a masters of modern Greek letters. Maria Polidori is renowned because of her intense erotic loves lyric. This is an example of music. So there are two types of music, separates into two parts: Greek traditional music and Byzantine music with more Eastern sounds. So Greek traditional music is um, their traditional, they they use in their daily life in a long time ago until now. And the Byzantine music is consisted of song, of hymns composed in Greek, used and courtly court, courtly ceremonials and festival. Theater. In ancient times, Aeschylus was the most famous of Athenian playwrights. The citizens of Athens felt it was a part of their civic duty to attend as many dramas as possible. Greek writers usually specialize in tragedies, so they they the writers usually work strategy tragedies dramas. Example of pateri. Pateri. Greek art is mainly five forms: architecture, sculpture, painting, pottery, and jewelry making. Artistic production in Greece began in a prehistoric pre-Greek Cyclades and the Minoan civilizations, both of which were influenced by local tradition and the art of ancient Greece. So there are five forms of um, Greek art, that is architecture, sculpture, painting, pottery, and jewelry making. Example of sculpture. Sculpture. Greek find details in architecture very important and take pride in the styles of architecture you can find in Greece. Columns are often found very detailed and a big part of a modern ancient Greek architecture. Movie style. Theodoros or Theo Angelopoulos was the one of the most adored film director in Greece. Angelopoulos was the acclaimed multi-awarded film director who dominated in Greek art film industry from 1975 on, with very popular Greek films such as Eternity and A Day, Landscape in a Mist, and Dust on Time. Angelopoulos died in 2012. So, to sum it up, Greek art and literature is influenced from their culture, which inspired or motivate the Greek, and some of those works are in above, like in terms of music, theater, sculpture, and movie style that originated in Greece. That's all. Thank you.
Development of scientific thought and philosophy. So, history of science. The history of science is an academic discipline of great scope, covering subjects such as technology, mathematics, medicine, and astronomy. Studying these disciplines through a classical lens shows how closely the sciences are related to the humanities and how all of our various areas of specialization fit together into a single investigation of the world and our experiences in it. So the ancient Greeks were the first mathematicians and scientists of the West. Thinkers such as Thales, Anaximander, Pythagoras, and Empedocles attempted to make sense of the world by studying the evidence they found in it. Anaximander proposed that the earth was a solitary body floating free and unsupported in the universe, and produced one of the first maps of the world. Empedocles or Empedocles was among the first to believe that the world consisted of diverse material elements acted upon by forcing of attraction and repulsion. The atomic theory of matter begins with the Greeks. Euclid remains one of the most influential mathematicians of all time. His contemporary Archimedes was a famous inventor and is also credited with discovering a geometrical technique which anticipated calculus and the fact that the surface and volume of a sphere is two-thirds that of its circumscribing cylinder. Through early astronomy, the Greeks developed the idea of mathematized science. In the field of medicine, they began with case histories and folk remedies, and ended up with an understanding of the nerves, the ability to patch up wounded gladiators, and even the ability to remove cataracts with eye surgery. They invented the first steam engine, vending machine, automatic doors, and more. And they sustained glorious cities with over 1 million inhabitants without using electricity, fossil fuels, gunpowder, or nuclear fission as sources of energy. So let's go to classical philosophy. Classical philosophy studies the fundamental problems concerning human existence through the eyes of our intellectual ancestors. Many thinkers from classical times were pioneers of our modern philosophical and scientific ideas. The earliest beginnings of philosophy are traced back to the 6th century BCE, when the first scientists of Western history, the Presocratics, among them Thales, Heraclitus, and Parmenides, advanced revolutionary theories concerning the natural world, human knowledge, and human's relationship with the gods. Some centuries later, Socrates ignited an intellectual revolution that would challenge traditional notions of morality and value forever. Plato, who had studied under Socrates and Plato's own student Aristotle, expanded the discipline of philosophy and forked out the path of Western intellectual thought with their discussions of logic, ethics, poetry, myth, politics, physics, and metaphysics. Their work was continued, systematized, and amplified by Stoic, Epicurean, and skeptical thinkers. It had an important impact on prominent figures of late antiquity, such as Marcus Aurelius, Plotinus, Porphyry, and great influence the early church fathers, most notably Saint Augustine. Studying the classics will give students with an interest in ancient philosophy a particularly thorough grasp of the broader linguistic, literary, historical, and cultural background of philosophical issues. 4 minutes lang isa.
The Hellenistic Age. So it started on 335 before Christ and ended on 135 before Christ. So here's a bullet of what happened to the Hellenistic Age, and we will know that on the next slides of this report. So 338 before Christ, Philip becomes ruler of Greece, and on 336 before Christ, Alexander the Great rules Greece. On 323 before Christ, Alexander the Great dies in Persia. So let's. Philip II of Macedonia. By 338 before Christ, Greece had a new ruler, and it is Philip II of Macedonia. So Macedonia was a small, mountainous country of North Greece. Most Macedonians were farmers. They cared little for the Greeks and had fought them in the Persian Wars. The Macedonian kings, however, were Greek of descent and admired Greek culture. So Philip became ruler of Macedonia in 359 before Christ. And during his youth he was hostage, or a person by an enemy until certain promises carried out for 3 years in Thebes. So after Philip was assassinated in 336, Alexander the Great was inherit a powerful yet volatile kingdom. He quickly dealt with his enemies at home and reasserted Macedonian power within Greece. So after Philip's powerful rules, Alexander the Great reigned his throne because he was died. He then set out to conquer the massive Persian Empire. Before anything, I would simply give a characteristics of Alexander the Great. So Alexander the Great is a dreamer and a powerful leader. He was good looking also. Alexander's empire had a dream of a world state in which all people would live together in peace. He was a good leader. He wanted to bring unity and justice to his empire. Alexander believed the only way to achieve his goal was to unite the Macedonians, the Greeks, and the Persians. He began by taking Persian soldiers to his army. Next, he married a Persian woman and had 80 of his leading army officers marry Persian women too. Then he began to dress in Persian fashion and to follow Persian customs. Next is the death of Alexander the Great. After surviving many battles of his life, Alexander the Great died in June 323 before Christ at the age of 32.
Actually, some historians say Alexander died of malaria or natural causes, and others believes he was poisoned. We do not know. So, thank you so much for listening.